Chapter 10. Hero waited for the young drake cutter to leave before rounding on Mud. Of all the stubborn, obnoxious, arrogant brothers, I had to get you. We could have used Drake Cutter's help. We can handle this on our own, Mud answered. His face grew hot and he glared at his sister. Oh, come on, Hera said. Even the greatest adventurers in stories don't go off on their own. They take all kinds of people to help them. Shimnara's note said I was supposed to seek the silver dragon. If she meant for you or anyone else to come with me, she would have mentioned him, don't you think? Hera put her hands on her hips, reminding Mud of his mother. I'm sure she wanted others to help. There just wasn't enough time for her to write it. No, Mud said, getting up. We go to Palanthas on our own, tonight. A worried look crossed Hera's face. The cleric told me you should stay off your feet until morning. She took Mud's hand. Come on. Drake Cutter said there's a bed you can use in the other room. We're welcome to stay as long as we want. Mud tried to argue, but his body rebelled. He felt faint and tired. His feet throbbed as Hera led him into the bedroom and forced him to lie down. He woke early the next morning while stars still glimmered in the sky. The smell of smoke hung in the air. Not the scent of a good clean pine fire crackling in the fireplace, but the choking smell of burnt thatch, rugs, and clothes, the horrifying aftermath of the Red Dragon's devastation. Mud gagged and crept out of bed to the window. The air outside smelled worse, and he slammed the window shut a little too loud. He whirled around, wondering where Hera was, and if he'd awakened her. Who's there? A gruff but feeble voice called from the next room. Greenthumb, is that you? Mud hesitated. It had to be Stonefist, the master of the house. Greenthumb. The dwarf's voice grew softer and held a hint of desperation. Mud slipped out of his room and into the next one. A dwindling candle burned on the table beside the bed, showing the old dwarf tucked in bed, his face and body bandaged. Only his eyes were visible through the white cloth. You're not Greenthumb, the dwarf said. He coughed, a painful, racking cough that didn't subside for a few minutes. No, Master Drake Cutter, Mud said, stepping over to the bed. Well, where is he? The dwarf asked sourly. Mud glanced out the window at the mountains that loomed over the village. He wondered if he should tell Stonefist that his son had gone hunting a red dragon on his own. It was foolish. Mud should never have allowed him to go off like that. Answer me, boy. You're in my house. Show a bit of respect, Stonefist barked. He's gone after the red dragon, Mud said, wincing. He what? If he took my axe, I'll tan his hide. Hunting a red dragon? That's preposterous. Even Greenthumb wouldn't be that foolish. Stonefist pounded his bandaged fists against the blankets. Mud took a step back. The dwarf was intimidating enough while wrapped in bandages. He'd hate to see Stonefist angry on a good day. He licked his lips and tried to explain. Greenthumb didn't take your axe. The dragon stole it. The cleric said Greenthumb had to get it back or you would die. Stonefist's eyes widened, and he slumped against the pillows. No, it can't be. Gone? I'm afraid so, Mud said. The fire seeped out of Stonecutter's eyes. Who are you? My name is Mud. I'm from Potter's Mill over on the other side of the pass. I pulled you out of the fire. Mud fumbled in his pocket for Shannara's drawing. He held it out. I traveled here to seek you, wondering if you'd ever seen a door like this. Stonefist squinted at the drawing. Those don't look like any rooms I've ever seen before. But the stonework, it's so good and it's underground. I thought maybe you... No, I'm a hill dwarf, boy. Hill dwarves don't live underground. Pride and some long-standing resentment mixed in Stonefist's voice. Oh, Mud shoved the parchment back in his pocket. I'm sorry I bothered you. He turned to leave. Mud? Stonefist reached out a bandaged hand. Find my son, please. Don't let him go after the red dragon. She'll kill him. He should go to Palanthas and call on the Slavic knights for help. Mud hesitated. Stonefist was right. If Greenthumb fought the red dragon, he'd be killed. Stonefist closed his eyes and moaned. My son, my son. Rock, spare him. The pledge was mine, not his. Mud touched the old dwarf's bandaged arm. Don't worry, I'll find him and take him with me to Palanthas. No harm will come to him. Stonefist's eyes remained closed, his breathing ragged. He gave no sign that he heard Mud's promise. Mud backed out of the room and ran into Hera. She stood shivering in the hall in a pale pink nightdress, her hair in tangled waves around her shoulders. It was as if the night had transformed her from the confident ranger back into the fragile little sister he'd always known. "How is she?" Hera whispered. "Not good," Mud said, putting an arm around her shoulders. "He made me promise we'd take Green Thumb with us." Hera's eyes lit up with joy, and she hugged him. "I'm so glad! But you better not call him Green Thumb to his face." "Right. I guess we better go now and hope he hasn't traveled too far for us to catch him." "Do you think you can pick up his trail?" Mud asked. "Sure. I'll go get dressed." Hera darted down the hall and vanished into another room. Mud went in search of his pack and weapons. He found them in the cozy living room on a sturdy dwarf chair next to the fireplace. A new pair of boots stood next to his pack. They were crafted from great suede, with black scrollwork stretching up the sides. The soles were sturdy for hiking, but with an extra cushion inside to pad his feet. Mud sat on a chair and pulled them on over his bandages. They fit perfectly. Hera walked into the room, dressed for travel. The delicate girl was gone, replaced by a strong ranger. "Where did these come from?" Mud asked, admiring the boots. "The mother of the child you saved from the balcony as a cobbler and wanted to do something to thank you," Hera said. "The leather to them was all she could salvage from her shop. The dwarves have almost nothing left, but they filled our packs with food and replaced your boots and burned cloak. You're their hero." She grinned at him and headed for the front door. Mud frowned. He didn't feel like a hero, sending Green Thumb off to fight the dragon alone. He slung his pack on his back, grabbed his weapons, and followed Hera out into the chilly morning. And that be the end of Chapter 10.